Hello YouTube, Camodo Gaming here, bringing you guys another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and today is a very special episode. So I've got some good news, some actually really great news, and I have some bad news. Now, the good news is that the new update is here. This is the new engine. This has got a ton of extras in there, from new textures, dynamic lighting, and a ton of other fun stuff. The bad news is it has broken the town, and don't fret, I have already sent the maps off to the Scrap Mechanic developers. They're going to look into it, but there is one bit of bad news. I was currently working on the Christmas festival for the town, and all my work's gone. I don't know really what to do there. So what we're going to do here today, we're going to go over all the updates. I do have a couple of the town buildings spawned in this map. That's what you're seeing in the background. So we're going to go over everything, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to approach the town in the near future and what we're going to do for Christmas. So let's go ahead and jump right into the update here. Now, let's go ahead. Oh, there's so much stuff to show you guys. I think we should start with the textures. That is probably one of the biggest things here. Now, I am running on the new engine. I'm getting a solid 60 frames a second. It seems to be locked at 60 frames. I used to be able to go up to like 120. But now it's like locked at 60, and it's really smooth. Even with all this stuff spawned in, those buildings are not even welded to the ground. That's how smooth it is. So this is pretty impressive. So we're going to go over here and check out the textures, and that is not a mod. They finally added the clear glass, and this is absolutely fantastic looking. There's the old glass that's still available in the game. Now the old glass looks a little funky. It doesn't look too bad when it's up against the ground, but when it's up in the air, it's a little cloudy, so definitely we'll be going with this new glass on new town builds. I'll be replacing, hopefully, some of the old glass in the buildings here with the new glass. So that's a really great addition, so let's go over here. The next one, this one's also fantastic. This is the concrete. Now, the old concrete texture was a little bland. I use it probably about 75% on probably almost all of my buildings. So I use this a lot, so it's really nice to see this new texture. So obviously you see that it's really high res, it's got some grooves in it, you see these little rocks in here, so it looks really good. It looks actually really good painted too, so let's go ahead and paint it here. Let's go with my favorite color here, let's go with green. So the actual painted texture looks a little different too, so that's one really cool thing. So we're going to go on to the next texture. This is the wood texture. Now this texture I like a lot too. It makes it look a little bit more natural. You can see the wood actually has some wear marks on it. You can see the little holes in it. It makes it where it's not as perfect. The other wood was just perfect pieces. Now that might not be for everyone, and it did make some of my builds look a little old. A lot of my buildings, when you put this wood on here, it gives it a little bit older feel, but once again, I think it's actually a really positive change, and I really like this wood. Now, as far as the tile, nothing has changed with the tile. It is still the same texture. Actually, I think it might be an updated texture, maybe it's a little higher res, but the actual tile itself, nothing's really changed. So, let's go on to the next one. This is the brick. Now, the brick is probably my favorite. Now this brick, well, besides of course the glass, that's just fantastic. That's something we've been asking for a long time, but this brick here, this brick looks great. As you can see, it's got the same kind of wear marks, some holes. I like how the bricks themselves are not perfect. The other set of bricks, everything was just perfect looking. The bricks themselves were like perfectly rectangle, and I don't know, this looks so much better. So this looks... Actually, do I have any on that building? I don't think I have any on that building. I think I have maybe a bit on that one over there. We'll go check that out here in a second. But yeah, this looks good. It looks good painted. So that's probably my favorite texture besides the glass. Now, here's the one that I'm not a huge fan of. And the reason being, it looks good as far as the resolution. It's really high res looking. But it really looks like somebody went to town on this with a hammer or an axe. Like this, it's a little weird seeing all the damage. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the actual game, maybe survival. But yeah, the metal texture I'm not a big fan of. It also kind of made some of my vehicles look kind of weird. Like here's the some of the construction vehicles. It's got all these little Mars and chipped up, and I don't know, it's a little weird. Alright, so that is all the building textures. Now, all the other items, I believe, received a little bit of a facelift, maybe a little bit higher res texture itself, but no notable changes. So, another thing you're probably noticing here, this is the new icons. These actually look really awesome. You can see the wood. It's got the updated textures for the wood, the metal. I don't think the caution block looks the same. But everything else, it looks pretty good. I like how the menu itself and all the icons, they look a little bit more vivid, a little bit more colorful. So that's really nice to see. Let's see, what do we move on to next? I guess we better move on to the wall over here. So we've got 2 tires here. Obviously that's the small one. Its texture doesn't look any different to me. Maybe it is a little bit updated, I don't see it. But the big one is that tire. That tire actually looks kind of like a DERF tire. And I love the new 3D model on it. It looks like the rim's actually... Is it 3D? Yeah, I believe it is. The other rim was really flat looking, like it was just a flat object with just a texture or a texture layered on top of it. But this actually has a little bit of a 3D effect to it. So that is a nice looking wheel. I don't know... I kind of wish they would have changed the small wheel too to match. It looks a little odd that they're not matched. This also looks really good painted, and I noticed a lot of the painted objects, a lot of the metal objects have a nice glossy texture now, which is really cool looking. Like, it makes everything look like it's really shiny, so I do like that. But yeah, I wish they would have changed the small wheel, but maybe that's coming up in the future. Next we have dynamic lights, and this is a biggie. I have complained about this quite a bit. I've always said, man, I really wish we had lights that would reflect off of objects, and you can shine them on the ground. It would make lights inside of buildings a lot more important. So they have delivered on that. Now, one cool thing about these two, let me pull out the connection tool. Just like the mods, I think it's the DERF mod. You can actually hook up the lights and turn them on and off, and they've made it where you can do that here too. So let me turn these on. There we go. You can see the light source. You can see it kind of beaming out. It actually, you can't really see it on the ground there. Let me go ahead and grab some more concrete here and I'll show you. Now I was like, alright, this is good, you know, it's shining down. There you go, you can see it right there. It also does reflect on walls, so say if we stick this up here, you can see the lights right there, they're reflecting onto the wall, so that's a really positive change. You can also paint these, so when you paint them, it does affect the color, as you can see there. So that's going to work really great for headlights on cars and interior lights. So let's go ahead and delete that. I've actually got in the Starbucks, it's set over there. We'll walk in it here in a second. I'll show you the interior lights. It looks actually really awesome. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and turn those off. Next is the suspension. And yes, folks, that suspension is colored. You can now paint that and you can paint the bearings. So pick a color. Let's go yellow there, yellow, yellow. That works pretty good. I've been wanting to see suspension that can be painted because of the way the old one was. It was like this, let me pull up the color here. It was this kind of orange color, and it looked weird. Say if you had a vehicle that had like a uniform color, it was all like red, and you would have loved to have some sort of red suspension piece, but you were stuck with that orange. So that's a pretty decent change. Now, the major thing about the suspension, and this is great, this is going to save some people some FPS, besides the new engine in general, which seems to be performing actually really good. For one, I'm guilty of this. A lot of you know when I build huge vehicles, say for instance this thing, I use a lot of suspension pieces. So you can see I have 3, 6, 12 in the front. I believe these back ones only have 1 suspension piece, and that's a lot. That lags the game a bit. So now we can eliminate those. We can actually adjust all these suspension pieces. So say we go into here, let's go ahead and delete these. You can see it's starting to compress a little bit more. And, oh, I might not be able to get to all of these. Let's delete that one, that one. Okay, so now we've eliminated quite a bit of suspension here. And the reason I use the 3 suspension pieces together because it gives it some more support. So how do we change that? Well, we go into here. We can now hit the E key. Okay, so now 1 is being the lightest. Think of 1 like maybe a deflated ball. I don't really know why you would use 1. It's so soft, I don't really know of a ride that would use that. Now 20 is about as stiff as it can get. It's barely gonna give. So let's set it up. Let's say 10. Let's go ahead and set it up to 10. And as you can see, the car is raising up. The suspension's now stiffer. So let's go to 10 on this side. There we go. That is amazing. I've been waiting for that. That is really cool. And like I said, that's going to save us on the FPS department. We won't have to use as many suspension pieces, and we'll still be able to get that nice ride. So let's go ahead and test that out a bit. Do I have any lights on this one? Ooh, I do. We can test those out too. Let's go ahead and grab a switch here. I just place it on the side. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and hook these lights up to the front here. Now, one thing, it's a little bit of a bug here. You used to be able to like hook everything up to the cockpit here, and you'd have numbers showing which order the buttons are in, and that seems to be broken at the moment. So let's hop up into here. Let's see. Let's hit the 3 key. There we go. Actually, those lights are black. Let me change those real quick. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our white lights and we have our stiffer suspension. So let's go ahead and give it a try here. Yes, that actually works really well. And we've eliminated some suspension pieces, and oh no, that is I don't know how that got up. I thought I had that locked down. Oh well, the little boom can stay out. But yeah, these wheels, everything looks fantastic about that. I'm really happy about being able to do that with the suspension. So I look forward to being able to build a little bit more complex designs as far as vehicles. But anyways, that's how the suspension works. It works the same way with the other suspension. I believe it's called the Sport or the Stock. So yeah, you can adjust that one too, same way. So you can go all the way up. As far as me going all the way up, it really doesn't do much more. We can go to 20 here. Of course, it's extended it all the way. But as far as the ride, it becomes really stiff. It doesn't bounce up as much, of course. For a vehicle like this, it probably doesn't even need it, which is really surprising considering how many suspension pieces I had on it. So, yeah, all the way stiff. I don't really see much of a change. It probably just won't compress as much. So, I think maybe you're going to use that maybe with something like a tank or something would be the best scenario to use that. So anyways, let's go check out the interior of the Starbucks real quick. Alright, so here's an interior with the new lighting. This is the Starbucks building from the town. I've spawned it over here. Now this actually looks really nice, so let's go ahead and fiddle around with this a bit. Let's try some different colors out. I actually really like the white lighting. It gives it a really kind of bright look. This lighting isn't bad, this orange lighting. It kind of gives it a nice little interior, I don't know, like a warm feeling. And over here, I don't know actually what color that is. It kind of looks like it's white. Actually, no, I think it's the gray. Yeah, let's go ahead and brighten that up. Yeah, that looks fantastic. A mixture of it and the textures in the background gives it a really good look. So I look forward to building more town buildings with this. So let's go ahead and do one more thing with this building. Actually, let's go do it to the other building. I want to show you the textures on the fire station here. Obviously, we've got the wood texture on the side. I thought maybe it was going to make it look a little old and a little awkward looking, but it actually did pretty good here. It did pretty good for the interior too with the concrete textures, so I'm really happy. I want to see what the town looks like in its full glory with the new textures, but I guess we're going to have to wait a bit for that. Now, another thing I tested out, here's the window in action. This is the clear texture, and what I really like, it's got a little bit of this streak to it, and it looks actually really good, so I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with everything in general. Now, like I said, guys, I think that's about it. I've been talking about the town. I have sent off the map. I look forward to hearing back from them and telling me what exactly is wrong, because I'm getting a temporary file error, and it's saying my temp files are full, and I've gone in, I've cleared them out, and I really can't figure out what the actual issue is. So hopefully they will be able to tell me. Now, the bummer is the whole fact that it kind of cancels the Christmas festival. I spent probably 4 hours on it last Sunday trying to get it ready, and then I was going to spend today and tomorrow finishing it up. That way I could have a video ready for you guys with the Christmas festival probably today or tomorrow. So yeah, that's kind of in bad shape right now. So what I think we're going to do, since we're on the new engine now, this is the full update, by the way. This initially was like a test branch, and it was like 12 hours later they released the actual update, and that was a little disappointing. I kind of wish they would have kept this as a test branch, so I could have done this video and then I could have switched over to the town. So what we're going to do, probably going to do a viewer creations episode later in the week. I'm also going to try to do at least one Christmas build. I don't know what it's going to be. I think maybe it's going to be a Santa sleigh with like a flying Santa sleigh with the new textures, and just kind of make it all kind of its unique self with like a scrap mechanic flair. So we'll use some of the new parts. I think these lights would look fantastic on it. Maybe these factory lights could be like spotlights. I think it's going to be cool looking. So we're going to do something like that. So if you guys have anything Christmas related you want to send me, I could probably check that out, do maybe somewhat of a Christmas themed viewer creations, and then I'll follow up with my build on Christmas Eve. So yeah, it is a little bit disappointing what's happened to the town. Now, say this does not get better by next week, what we're going to do for town builds, I'm going to do it a little bit in the manner that Moombo does it. We're probably going to make it more modular, so that means I'll still build town buildings and vehicles, but they will be on like flat maps. That way, once everything's fixed, we can go transfer the buildings over. I know it's a little disappointing not being able to just add them to one map, so we might have to do that. So anyways, guys, just give me some feedback. I also want to hear, besides what you want to see built for Christmas, I would like to hear your guys' opinions on this current engine, this update, what kind of performance you guys are getting. So I'd really like to hear some feedback, even if you want to post some specs in the comments. I'd like to hear what you guys are running frame rate wise and what you're running with your rigs, because I'd like to hear what kind of FPS you're getting. But anyways, guys, I do want to apologize about how this has happened, even though it's really nothing I can do. There's nothing in my power that I can do. But we'll make up for it. We'll do still some Christmas builds. We'll do some more viewer creation episodes. So plenty of Scrap Mechanic coming up this week, and then we'll get everything figured out and see what we need to do for the town. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode today. Hopefully you enjoyed this update. I do think it's fantastic. Even though it's caused a little bit of turmoil with the town, I still think in the end it's going to be a real positive. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel, and we will see you guys next time on Scrap Mechanic. Thank you.